Hello and welcome, everybody. This is the local pundit. I am Paddy Power. I am here with Aaron. Apologies for being late, but this is the power of stats, and tonight's show is a double trouble. Wrexham's away stats squared. The reason we are late is because I tried to squeeze two loads of stats together in about 2 hours after the matches tonight, and didn't really work as quickly as I wanted. But I got it done. We are here and we are ready to go finally. So, who do we have in the chat? Who's here? Oh, we have quite a few people actually. Drew is first, as usual.
Yep.
Hip Karma says that was fast. Drew is a Drew is a cheat, and everybody knows it. Chicky Brewer's in the house. Okay, Josh is in the house. He's new to the channel, third. Marie from SoCal is here. Steve Barton is here. So we got plenty of support. Thanks very much for hitting us up live, guys. Jose Rojas is here. Bruce McFarling is here. Josh is here again. Rupert Galvin, live question mark. Yes, we are live eventually. A couple of minutes late. Sorry about that once again. Ruth H is in the house. Kieran is here. He has caught one of my lives this evening.
Hey.
Hey, Kieran, how are you going? JB65. And pulling up the last here is Nick. If I can click his button. Yeah, there we go. What's up, Nick? Hello and welcome. Right, so we will not waste time. We're going to get straight into it because we have lots of stats today. We are covering both the away matches, that is this Saturday's match and Tuesday's match. And because they are both away matches, it actually works out okay to pull up a double set of stats because they are both at home and we are away. Now, interesting, obviously, with the away stats, a lot of changes from being at home last week. Similar to last year, we had some issues with our away matches. We've gotten the results so far this season, but the stats, some of them are not as good as our home stats, which is to be expected because, as everyone says, we are a bit of a fortress at home. So I'm going to throw it over to Aaron, and Aaron is going to have a quick look at the league table as it stands, and before we dive into the stats.
Yes, I'm going to pull up the table right now. Share that. Okay. So, as you can see, we're at the top, just like we want to be. Birmingham City, right behind us. We're just ahead on goal difference. Scroll down a little bit, find our teams we're playing this weekend who just happen to be sitting right next to each other at 15th and 16th. So we got Leyton Orient. We play on Saturday. They got a draw today. And then Stevenage also drew today, I believe, with they drew. Did they? Yeah, Stevenage drew with. Who did they draw with? I'm pulling up a blank.
Peterborough.
Yeah, Peterborough. They had Peterborough. That's right. Yeah. So they both drew today, I believe. And
excellent results for us.
Yeah, good results. Yeah. And the other one, I guess the other big one that was today, big result was Huddersfield, who are sitting in fifth right now. They lost today, surprisingly. I don't think anybody expected that. They played Northampton Town and Northampton.
No, they played.
Oh, no.
Blackpool.
Yeah, sorry, Blackpool. Northampton was on the weekend. Yeah, Blackpool beat them, which is Steve Bruce, new manager there. He's managed 3 games and they've won all 3. So he's managed to get Blackpool playing some pretty good football at the moment.
So those results are excellent. As we said, this leaves Birmingham as the only team that can catch us with their game in hand at the moment. So we're on 7, Birmingham's on 6. They can catch us because they're on equal points. Then we have Barnsley, Charlton, and Huddersfield on 7. and then we're at Lincoln City and Stockport on 6, and they still have to make up that match. But they're currently sitting on 11 points, so that's a maximum of 14. So we are solidly just at the moment sitting in the top 2. Whichever way you want to look at it, the board says we're first, and going by some of the stats, we'll say we're comfortably second right now.
Yeah.
So these 2 matches coming up are very important. They are away matches, which we have had some issues with in the past, but the teams we have now, we're in a little bit of a easier patch. Let's just put it that way. There is no such thing as easy in this league. Looking at the results all around us, any team can pretty much beat anybody. We'll see how Stockport gets on throughout the year if they're the one exception to that rule. But weaker teams are taking out teams from the top. So nothing is guaranteed, but we have easier matches for the next 3, let's say at least. We need to pull these points. We need to stay at the top and maybe push ahead just a little bit while we have a few of the weaker teams. Anything else to add there to that, Aaron?
No, I think we're good. Yeah, we're right where we want to be, right at the top. Doesn't get any better than that. So no complaints.
Okay,
here.
so then I'm gonna hit straight into this one. Add the stats up here. So I did it a little bit different today, and that's what took me so long getting all the stats together, because I had to redraw everything and then get all the stats after the matches tonight to have them accurate for you. I'd hate to turn around and say, well, I have some stats, but they changed because we had matches tonight. So who do we have? First up on Saturday, we are away to Leyton Orient down near London. And Parky has been photographed down in London watching our opponents tonight, taking notes for the weekend, which is a good job. Well done, Parky. We like to see that. And following that Saturday match, we have our Tuesday match against Stevenage. I used to live near Stevenage, actually, not terribly far away. But that's neither here nor there and not important right now. So these are potentially 2 beatable teams. So just first up, thoughts on the 2 teams. Leyton up first and then Stevenage.
So Leyton they've had a decent run of form here the last few games. Now they drew tonight, but they won their 2 matches before that. They beat Reading and they beat Stockport 4-1 at Stockport, which was kind of a, whoa, what happened there? And then they drew tonight 2-2 with Peterborough. So they're a team that's come into a little bit of form. Their beginning of the season wasn't great for them. I think took them a while to get their first win. So that Reading win was their first win of the season. And so they were a team. They lost to Shrewsbury. This was crazy. They lost to Shrewsbury 3-0, and then they beat Stockport 4-1. So they're really tricky. Like, I don't understand that. That doesn't compute in my head.
Yeah,
because Shrewsbury are good.
Leyton is all over the place, and their stats are all over the place as well. So while Aaron is frozen there and trying to sort that out, we'll keep going. So Leyton Orient have achieved 7 points, played 7 matches. Their league position is currently 16th. Points per game on average for all games is just 1, which obviously is pretty low. Very, very hit and miss. So they lost to Birmingham City, which would be expected. When Birmingham wasn't playing well, they lost to Shrewsbury Town and then have had some form. Win, and a draw tonight against Peterborough. They, according to some comments I've seen, Peterborough should have scored a lot more but couldn't do it. So that's an interesting one. So on away form then, they have 0 wins away, 1 draw, and 2 losses. Oh, sorry. Never mind that it says away there. That's actually their home stats. So their home stat is 1. They're actually better away. because of they beat Stockport away. So their stats are a little all over the place. So the fact that we're at home to them shouldn't worry us too much. Either they're having an on day or they're not having an on day. Then moving over to Stevenage. Stevenage have been up and down, two draws and one win, two losses in the last five. Again, up and down, but they have pulled more points. They are on 8 points, so sitting 15th in the league with 7 matches played and a per game average of 1.14. Again, a weaker team, not doing particularly well. A draw against Wigan today was pretty good. They're a stronger team, so that was a great result for us today as well. They've lost to Exeter City, one of the lower teams. They beat Barnsley. That's their big win again. So they've taken out a decent team there, and they did it quite well, 3-0 for that match. So again, all teams in this league seem to be able to pull off a decent win when the mood takes them, when they actually get things working. So for us then, our basic stats were on 16. Obviously, our points per game has gone up since last week, obviously, with the win. It's now at 2.29, 5 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss. Our away record, because I forgot to swap those, the away record is 1 win, 1 draw, and 1 loss with 3 matches played, and a points per game then of only 1.33. So where we have lost and where we had our draw were in away matches. So that's not a perfect scenario for us either. So interesting game. And I would say Leyton is actually the stronger team, weirdly enough, even though Stevenage have pulled off some of the better results. Okay, so let's jump on there and see when Aaron gets back to us. Guys, feel free to throw some comments up there as well, and I can talk about those as well if you have some interesting comments or questions. Okay. Now, actually, if you guys can do me a favor and hit the like button, I'm buying a bit of time here to see if Aaron gets back in. He's in the background. Oh, hang on. There we go.
I'm back. Hey,
He's
would
back.
it even be a show if my internet didn't fall out?
Yeah. Well, at this stage, if your internet starts working, you're going to have to actually just jump in the background and pretend your internet isn't working.
Pretend it went out.
Yeah.
I think so. Sorry, everybody. Hopefully we're good. I'll cross my fingers.
Okay. So here we have the league ranking, so 1 to 24 on all of these different stats. So FootMob rating will do first, 7.04 for us. We're second in the ratings with pretty decent results. 22nd for Leyton in the FootMob ratings, and 15th for Stevenage. Stevenage seems to be a little bit more accurate. Maybe with their style of play, just works with what they're counting. But Leyton been down in 22nd. It's probably statistical variance because it's so early in the league. But yeah, anything to do with ratings, with FootMobs and XG inside in the ratings and stuff does play with it a little bit. But as you would expect, if you look down generally across all of our ratings, I did a color scheme here. So green means we're the highest, yellow is for the second between the 3 teams today we're looking at, and then red is on the lower end. So the majority of ours is green. Leyton is actually in red for a lot of them. And then Stevenage seems to be doing just a little bit better. But actually, when you look at them, not by much. There's a lot where there's only 1 or 2 positions between them.
Yeah.
So first up here for us, we have goals conceded per match at 0.9%, fourth in the league. So in general, that's our strong suit. And then when you look at the 2 other teams, there's a big variance here. Leyton are in 15th across the whole league, but Stevenage are in second.
Yeah, they seem to be a much better defensive team. I don't
Yes.
think they offer a ton going forward, but defensively they seem to be pretty good. And that there's some other stats that'll back that up. We get a couple rows down, you'll see the clean sheets where they also have a
Yeah.
very good,
So
very good record there.
yes. So looking at those there, we have 4 equal first, and we're
Mhm.
equal first with Stevenage. They have
Exactly.
4 clean sheets.
Yeah.
They're not scoring, but they're not conceding a lot of goals.
Yeah.
So they're playing very, very tightly.
hmm Yeah. Very good at the back. Very good. So yeah, that I mean, it is interesting. I like how you have this broke down to kind of you can it gives you visual as far as you know between the three teams. We kind of compare all three of us. Um, I Yeah, I mean, it just seems like with Stevenage, the one thing that did show up for sure was defensively they look a much better team than what Leighton do. Um, but yeah, I mean but really you look at ours and we got a lot of green, and so that tells me we should be winning these games, or they're certainly winnable. Let's put it that way.
Certainly winnable, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we look at the usual suspects. So touches in the opponent's box for us were 19th,
Mhm.
um, but all around us we have Leyton at 18th,
Mhm.
and Stevenage at 21st. So they're in a very similar situation with that stat to us.
Right.
So
Right.
no real difference there. Um, Corners is not a massive statistic, but we're similar enough in our positions on that. Interceptions per match, we are way down on this for the entire league, 20th.
Yeah.
Um, Interceptions by Leighton, 12th, which is pretty good. But again, Stevenage, 7th.
Right.
So defensive duties, getting
Mhm.
interceptions, getting the ball back, being solid, and not letting people play through you. So
Yeah.
again, it shows the slight difference there. Um, what else do we have? Successful tackles per match. Again, defensively, Stevenage is right there with us. They're 5th, we're 6th, and then 10th for Leighton. Um, Now, part of the reason these are higher with Leighton being 10th as well is that they have more opportunity in the defensive stats. They're
Yeah.
going to rack up more interceptions when they're off the ball a lot. So,
One that was interesting, real quick, if we want to jump back up, average possession, which obviously that's been a big talking point with us this year because we've not had any possession. It seems
yeah,
like, so we're 23rd in the league with average possession, and then you go over to Stevenage and they're in 20th, so they're with 44%, which is about where we are. But then you look at uh, Leighton. Of the three of us, they have the most possession of all three teams, which I thought was interesting. That they, even despite having more possession than both of us, they had a tougher start, and you wonder if uh, them trying to keep the ball and maybe they didn't have the players to do it was part of that, or and it just you'd have to go through a game by game breakdown to really look at that. But I just thought that was interesting that they're almost up at almost to 50% possession as to where we're at 39. We're just under 40. So I just thought that was interesting.
yeah, it is. Interceptions, saves per match. We are 11th, 22nd for Leighton and Stevenage 18th. So yeah, not great there. Oh no, sorry, 24th. I was reading it incorrectly. So they're way down there, the two of them, obviously. Big chances missed. They're pretty low as well. Foul. Yes, this was an interesting one. Fouls per match and yellow cards.
Yeah, I
Um,
saw this too.
I expected us to be higher,
Yeah,
actually.
me too.
Just naturally in my head, I
Yeah,
expected
yeah,
us to be
I
higher on
know
this
it.
one,
I
but
know it.
we're not. We're 11th for fouls, 15th for yellow cards. And now I did this in reverse order because obviously you don't want these to be high.
Right. Yeah.
So then we have second place for Leyton for fouls per match, first for yellow cards, fouls per match, Stevenage third, and yellow cards second. So they're
Right.
both right up in the top three.
So what that suggests to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but to me that sounds like these are going to be two very physical matches.
Yeah.
These are going to be teams that are going to want to get into us. So does that play to our advantage? I mean, I know we like to play that way against other teams. So that may play right into our hands. That might be good for us. A good physical match. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting how that plays out. But yeah, I was actually pretty surprised at where we where we were on the table as far as that goes, comparatively myself.
Yeah. Um, okay. My chat wasn't working, but
Oh,
now
so
it is.
oh,
So let's have a quick run through this before we move on
okay.
to any of the other pages. So we have Robert Galvin say hi, Glenda Bussey say hi, Steve Barton live long and prosper. Um, Kieran, sorry for not catching many shows. Been so hectic moving to Cardiff, down south, buddy boy. Oof, moving away from us. No problem. Good luck to you in Cardiff. We'll see you when you get back. Mad Al is in the house. Um, Josh is talking about Starlink.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, Mad Al has a comment here I'll show. I think we seriously need to improve on last season's away record. Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
We can't rely on having such a massive home record.
yeah,
It will be amazing if we achieve it again, of course. However, look, we can't depend on that. So we need to balance it out a little bit. We need to be able to depend on some good away form.
yeah,
And when we have the weaker teams, if we want to be aiming definitely into the playoffs, but having any shot at staying around the second place for an automatic, we're going to need big numbers and we're going to need our away results. Absolutely.
yeah. Mm.
Um, Trekkies in the house. Hip Karma's here. Mad Al again. The captain's armband is McLean's kryptonite. I I don't agree. I don't agree. I don't see him being any worse. I think the armband is protecting him a little bit
Yeah.
because he gets to speak to the ref without
Mm.
it being antagonistic in the same way. So he can help calm the ref down a little bit on some occasions. Um, so I think he's doing okay with it.
I
Uh,
think it's tamed him down a little bit.
I
He's
think so.
definitely not near as as crazy as he could be.
Yeah. Statman Shelley with the content. If you know, you know. And Josh, it's helping him keep his spot in front of Rev for now. That's my only issue with it. Um, if you're not an absolute guarantee of your spot, like Lee at the moment or others, then yeah, I think it shouldn't matter. You should be able to hand off the captaincy,
Mm.
but I don't think so in this scenario. I think it's going to help him stay in the team longer.
Yeah.
Then Matt Al commented again, maybe I misunderstood his comment earlier. He meant as in it mellowed him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd
So
agree
he
with.
means he's not temperamental enough,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, Harrison here. Leyton Orient seem to have had a firecracker stuck up them because their performances have greatly improved recently. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
they're definitely getting results. They're definitely getting results.
okay, I know my answer to this, but I'm going to ask you. Um, do you think either of these matches are more likely to be a draw or loss? Now, of course, I assume we're going to win both, but let's just say, which one would you be more nervous of losing, and which one would you be more comfortable that we're going to draw?
That's tough because I think if you'd asked me that 2 weeks ago, it would have been an easy answer. But because of the recent form with Orient, it's got me a little bit concerned just because of the recent form. Um, but prior to that, I would have said Stevenage because of their defense, because of their defensive record. Um, I thought I could see that possibly being a draw if they can. It's at their place, so they'll have the home field advantage. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one now. Their recent form definitely has me worried. Let's put it that way. It's definitely got me more. Whereas 2 weeks ago, I thought this was a gimme game. I thought we were going to roll them over, especially after seeing, Shrewsbury beat them 3-0. I thought there's okay. We should roll these guys, but now I'm starting to question that a little bit.
Okay, so for me, I think that the easier game is Stevenage and is more likely to be a draw. I'm less worried about a loss versus Stevenage because I don't think they have the firepower unless we absolutely completely mess it up to score more than one goal, in which case we are always in position to win the match again. So I'm less worried about Stevenage now after seeing some of the stats and recent form and everything else. Leyton, for me, goes anyway. If they come and have an amazing performance, there could be goals all over the place. If we're both performing, it could be a very high scoring match. It could be a dud match where we just negate each other for most of it. But I believe there's less chance of like a draw versus Leyton than maybe Stevenage. But yeah. So yes, I'm more worried about Leyton as well. Probably because of that recent form. Josh says we have a very busy October, 7 matches. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of back-to-back matches and then cup matches in between. Now, this is an interesting one. Hip camera, that kind of month makes me grateful for the depth of our bench. Yes.
As long as we use it properly.
Yes.
You have to use it, and that's a fair question because up until now that's not been Parky's strong suit. I think that's fair to say. But also I don't think we've ever had a bench this deep either. So I think that's also so it's not completely, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I'm of the same opinion. I would like to have seen more rotation by now. Now, I don't know what Parky thinks about this, but I certainly did not expect our last season 11 to stand up so well to League One.
Me neither.
In which case, you would have had to have rotated in your new players earlier. If they're obviously better than what we have. But the players from last season have stood up and been counted, and maybe over time they'll lose their spots to the new players and become very, very solid bench second string players. But for now, maybe that's what has caused part of the delay, which is a great issue to have, because if you can't choose between the players, or the players you have are doing so well you can't take them out, then it's an issue that we can solve later. But I would like to see a little bit more rotation if we're going to start rotating Saturday, Tuesday. I would like to have seen a little bit more of it so far. But the results are the results. Look, we're top 1, top 2. So you can't say too much about it, really. Matt Al reminds us we have a very quiet November with a 14-day gap. How are we going to get through 14 days without football?
Oh, my Lord. I mean, we won't be without it completely, but we'll just have to watch somebody else.
Okay. Not PC, on PC. As Rev starts to develop and McLean starts to decline, do you think that will speed up the transition to Dobson taking the armband? Probably, yeah. Um, I said last year about McLean slowly becoming our backup
Mm-hmm.
on the bench, and it's only his fitness, I think, is keeping him,
Mm-hmm.
and team spirit and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But yes, that's at some point he's going to have to step down, I think.
Yeah.
Um, okay, last one, and then we'll move on because we've been doing this for a little bit. I'd also generally like to see Scar, Fall, and Brunt on the pitch again at some point. Not so worried about Fall. He can do some training, take more time to be very comfortable in what Parky wants him to do. Of course, he may get an earlier chance if anything happens with Palmer,
Mm.
if he's needed to be replaced, because we all know Marriott can't replace him for a full match.
Just on that, I think Palmer Palmer definitely is going to need more time to recover.
Yeah,
And so a Saturday, Tuesday, it'll be interesting to see who
what he
starts
does.
on the Tuesday. Does he
Hmm.
start Fall? Does he start? Do you bring in Fletcher for one game? Because I think Fletcher can. I think Fletcher can play 60, 70 minutes one game. As long as he's going to have rest. You know what I mean? I don't think you'd want him to play repetitively. You know what I'm saying? I think he's good for one. I don't think you want him to be your every week starter though.
Okay.
So I think there's a chance that it's Fletcher and not Fall.
Okay. Assuming I'm going to do a lot of assumptions here for a moment to ask a question.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Assuming Fall is not ready,
Mm-hmm.
so you're not going to use him unless it's last choice,
Mm-hmm.
and we can't play Palmer. What would
Mm-hmm.
you do? Would you put Fletcher on first and see how long he can last, and how well he goes, and then swap him out for a Marriott Mullen pairing? Or would you put Marriott and Mullen on first, see how well they do in the match, in the game, and then swap Fletcher in later?
I don't think I don't think we'll see Mullen and Marriott at the same time, and here's why. I think whoever starts on Saturday won't start on the Tuesday. So let's
I'm
say
not.
if he
I'm not
sticks.
talking. I'm not talking about this week. This is a pure hypothetical.
Okay, pure
Future
hypothetical.
situation.
Okay.
Fall isn't ready, so we're not putting him in,
Hmm.
and Palmer is not available.
I mean, obviously, I would love to see what Mullen and Marriott look like together. I'd love to see that. I don't know that it's in Parky's character. I just don't. I don't know that he'll do that. I wish he would try it though. I'd like to
Okay.
see it just to see what it looks like. I mean, it can't hurt to see it one time. You know what I mean? That's
Mm.
kind of my thoughts on it. Because what if it's really, really good? Then again, it could be terrible. We don't know. I mean, we assume when you put two players like that together that they would be able to play well together, but maybe they wouldn't. We don't know. It would just, you know, who knows? It'd be interesting.
Madal reminds us when Fletcher started, he scored a hat trick. He
Yeah,
didn't start again.
yeah,
And Madal questioned that.
yeah.
Probably because he was dead after that
Yeah,
match.
he was dying.
He was dying for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it took him 2 weeks to recover. Oh shoot! But yeah, he did. He did have in his first start, he had a hat trick, which was that was an awesome game. So I mean, like I said, and that's what I was saying. Like he's definitely got a game in him. So I think
Yeah.
if you do it once, you're okay. But it'll be interesting
Okay.
to see what we go with Tuesday.
Okay, so we have some more stats here. The first column is the league average, all teams included. Green column is Wrexham, blue column is Leyton Orient, and then the orangey column is Stevenage. So points per game, we are at 2.29, 1 and 1.4 for the other teams. So obviously showing their lower level. Wins 39 on average, and both of our opponents are under that with 29 and 29% each. Draws and losses, not really too relevant at this stage. Obviously, they're lower. Goals scored per game, here we go. We're scoring 2 per match on average. Leyton again is scoring 1.29 and 0.71 for Stevenage. Goals conceded, Leyton similar, even more than they had for scoring, 1.57, and then Stevenage had the same, 0.71 for conceded. So they've scored and conceded the same, which is very little. So does that prove what the stats have already said? Basically, Leyton can score, but they're also extremely leaky, and Stevenage don't score, but they're pretty solid.
Yeah. Seems like if you took Leyton and Stevenage and put them together, you could make a really good team. But in all seriousness, yeah, I mean, I think it's just showing us what we kind of thought already. They just, like you said, Stevenage good defensively, not so good offensively, and Orient they can score some goals, but they're gonna let some in too. So.
Yeah, and if you look at a few more of the stats here, percent of clean sheets, we have 57%, and so does Stevenage. They have 4 clean sheets. So Leyton isn't. Percent failed to score, 14% for us, so we pretty much score a lot. Leyton at 29, and then Stevenage at 57%.
That's wild.
So same thing again. We are scoring a lot. Leyton is scoring when they can, and Stevenage pretty much isn't scoring.
Yeah.
But defensively, they're doing okay. First team to score, Leyton is also high. Very similar to ourselves, 43%. So that first goal is going to be very important against Leyton, especially.
Yeah.
And I would actually say it's also going to obviously be important against Stevenage, because if they get that first goal, they actually have a 100% record of lead defending rate. So they are going to go and park the bus and go into a low block very early if they're ahead. And then it's break them down, maybe shoot from distance, crosses, and see if we can get it back. So yeah, that's an interesting one. Would you be more worried about coming back from a goal against Leyton or Stevenage? Oh, still there? Aaron is frozen. Okay. Bruce McFarling replying to our comment there, but the other half of each team would be a very, very bad team. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Minutes of scoring. That's interesting. The average for everybody is 29 minutes for the first goal to be conceded or scored, because on average it's the same. We are below the 29. We are at 17 minutes for the first goal. We have not conceded first still. So it's not applicable for us. 20 minutes for Leyton to score, and 56 minutes for Stevenage to score their first goal on average. So they are very slow out the blocks. Takes a long time for them to score on average. To concede, though, 35 minutes. So we should look. According to the stats, they predict that we will score first and earlier. And if we do score that first goal, I absolutely think we will take out Stevenage. But we need to do things correctly whilst away against them. Mad Al, Aaron needs to ban the kids from Netflix when he's on. He'll get back in. It'll just take a couple of minutes. Okay, so let's move on while we're waiting. No. Oh, how did we end up with that again? Here we go. Now, here we have very specifically our away stats, because it's an away match, versus the home stats only of Leyton and Stevenage to see if that varies anything. It is early in the season and it is obviously a low sample size, but let's see what they say. So, team scored first for ourselves, 2 out of 3, 67%. That's the same as Stevenage. They have scored first 67% in their matches, 2 out of 3. And Leyton is only 1 out of 3 scoring first, but they have the firepower to come back and make a match of it after conceding that first goal. Average minutes leading for us, 30% only, 56% level, and 14% trailing. So we have been doing very well at sticking with the draw and grinding it out until we get to the win, or keeping a clean sheet draw as we did in Bolton the whole time. Leyton, 26%, 43%, and 31%. Which is pretty average, hit and miss, because obviously that's the type of team they are. They either do well or they do badly. Not too much in between, less likely of a draw. And then we have Stevenage. Stevenage are 25%, leading 68% in a draw and 7% trailing minutes. At home. So Stevenage at home have actually very good form for not losing. So that is interesting. That is solid. Solid numbers for Stevenage at home there, which I wasn't really expecting and didn't pay much attention to when I put them in. Now, next one up, we have non-crucial goals scored. These are goals that did not matter. It did not change whether you were winning, losing, or drawing. Obviously, a goal at a draw does change. So then it's winning or losing. For us, we have one goal, crucial goal scored by us, and non-crucial goal conceded 1, 1-1. Leyton have 3 and 3, which is much higher, obviously, and puts them in this scenario where they're either winning and scoring the extra goals, or teams are getting away from them. So they already have scored, and they're just scoring extra. So we've seen this with their results. Very interestingly, they are a team that can score. So they could be a very fun match versus Leyton. Could be a big score. Hopefully not. Hopefully maybe 3-1, something like that. Let's see. And then Stevenage, non-crucial goals scored by them 2, and non-crucial goals scored against conceded 0. So every goal that went in counted, because their goals in their matches are so low and their defense has been doing so well. Aaron, are you back?
I'm back for now.
Okay. I just went through all of these.
Okay.
So the first set, we have Wrexham away, then we have Leyton home results and Stevenage home results for comparison. Have a quick look there and see if there's anything that stands out to you. Do you want to talk on before we move?
Let's see. So interesting that team that scored first, Stevenage, is at 67% at home. So that's equal with our 67% away. So that's interesting.
Clean sheets at home for them, 67%.
Yeah,
as well.
Yep. Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one.
And then 7% for average minutes trailing at home.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, that could be a tough game. Leyton, on the other, kind of, they're just, I don't know. It feels like, if you just look purely at the stats, it feels like we should be winning that game. But the recent form kind of says that they're a little better than what maybe the start to their season is hurt their stats overall, and
Yeah.
so now they're performing at a higher level than what their stats are showing, and that's a
So
possibility.
they're a better
Especially
team. Yeah.
right, they could be a
Uh,
better team than
than
what
the
we
stats are
think they
showing.
are.
Yeah. Early
Yeah,
bad results have hidden how good potentially they could be.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna here. I'm gonna drop my video.
Okay. Okay, guys. Any more comments there? No? All quiet in the chat now? Has everyone fallen asleep? It's 4 a.m. for me and I'm awake. If I'm awake, you guys have to be awake.
Okay.
Okay. Drop the
We'll
video out
try
and see if
this.
it
See
helps.
if
Yeah.
yeah. We'll see if this works better. Kids, yes, I do.
Oh, your voice is gone now. Okay, George has an interesting comment here, which kind of backs up what I was saying. The stats tell him that we are more likely to beat Leyton, but less likely to lose to Stevenage, if that makes sense. Yes, yeah, I kind of agree with that. Less likely to lose to Stevenage. They're not going to have the firepower. So as long as we don't let them score that one early goal and go into a very heavy defensive block, we should be fine against them. But definitely, I think the chance of a draw versus Stevenage is a much greater possibility. Leyton, again, kind of hit and miss, so should be able to beat them, but on their day, if we're not paying attention to our own defense, then yeah, could be an issue with that one. Okay, Aaron, go to the truck. Hip Karma, 11 a.m. on a work day for me. I'm sneaking this in. Ooh. Bruce McFarlane. So if Mullins starts for one and Marriott the other, then technically which should start which game? Now that is a very interesting question. And I'm going to throw that to the chat. I want to see in the chat your opinion on this before I give my own, because I don't have one actually. So I'm going to think about it for 2 seconds. Very, very interesting question. I like it. Is Mullins' firepower and speed and pace and pulling people around better suited to Leyton, or is it better suited to breaking down defenders? If I had to choose, as you said, one for one match, one for the other, I would put Marriott in for the Stevenage match. I think Marriott could get in around players maybe a little bit better. And I think Mullins' creativity would get the job done in a bit more open space with Leyton Orient. I think Mullen would maybe not be able to get his shots off versus an extremely defensive setup. Whereas I think Marriott could break through that defense a little bit better. That's my answer. Okay. Nick sending pictures. Aaron, go to the car. Josh says Marriott should start this weekend. Yeah, okay. Was that specifically in response to the question, as in you would then play Mullen versus Stevenage? Because I'd like to see your opinion on that one, if that's what you're implying there. Okay, George William, I would go Marriott against Leyton and Mullen against Stevenage. Okay, interesting. Why? Mullen could wreak havoc on Stevenage, especially early. Okay, good point. Good point. Mad Al, When I spoke to Marriott and Mullen last week, Jack was a lot more mentally positive. Mullen wasn't. Jack never got to start. Yeah, well, you would just generally think that Marriott should be a little bit more mentally positive because he has scored, he has been playing, and he has been playing well. Mullen has been out injured and he's trying to come back. And a lot of us think he's pushing himself a little bit too hard, too fast. And if he relaxed into it a little bit, maybe that would help. You can see by his reaction when he takes a shot and misses it on the pitch. That's where I'm going off. Is he's over excessively kind of berating himself, hitting the ground, stuff like that, and I think that shows what you mean as well. Nick agrees, says the same thing. Yeah, and Matt Al, it was obvious Mulls was coming undone just a little bit. Well, as I said, yeah, a bit excessive in calling himself out for not getting it done. I think he'll get his groove back in a few weeks. Yeah, of course he will. You just have to get the rust off. Jack is the informed striker. You can see Mulls is frustrated. They've literally changed roles from last year. Yep. And the way the side has been playing with Marriott, shots coming in from all areas, might be a good approach against Orient. Yeah. And I would also say, yeah, it might also be a good result against Stevenage. Because you can't, like, if you're in a low block and if you're defending like crazy, you don't want it only coming from one side. You would want it coming from everywhere, everybody trying to break down that attack, pulling at them from all sides. George again. Marriott, it seems to me, is better at getting shots when actually in the box in a crowd, and that plays better against Leyton, I would think. Really, why against Leyton? Because for me, you would have a crowd in the box if the Stevenage is going into a heavy defensive structure. A lot more around the box. Whereas our style is to hit on the counter. So we would be attacking Leighton's box on the counter as much as possible, and there'd be less in around the box. Just my opinion. Depends on the situation, but good points. Stevenage sit back a little more than even they would like to. Okay, fair enough. All right. Hopefully Aaron's getting sorted there. He's in the background. Not sure if everything's okay just yet. Oh, there we go.
We'll give it a try. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
We're fighting it today.
We've been
Right,
chatting away here on the side. We are moving on.
Okay.
Okay, we're getting there.
Okay.
We're not too far off here, guys. Okay, so very quickly then. Elliot Lee is our top FOTMOB scorer. So we have 7.62. George Dobson second, 7.54. Max Kluert, 7.52. Owen O'Connell, defender, 7.41. Ryan Barnett from the midfield, 7.27. Our keeper is 7.21, and that is comparing to the other teams with Zach Hamming at 6.23 for Leyton and Murphy Mahonis at 6.79. So not crazy low, but obviously they are lower. They have conceded more goals, losing more matches. But we know we have the best keeper in the league.
Yeah.
We know our goal scorers. They have just ticked up a little bit. So Marriott 4, Lee 3, Kluert 3, Palmer 2, Andy Cannon 1, Stephen Fletcher 1. Okay. Do you know anything in particular about any players from Leyton or Stevenage? Or
I've heard good things about Ethan Galbraith from Leyton Orient. He's kind of an attacking midfielder type player. I think he scored 2 goals at the weekend in their win against Stockport. So
Okay.
That he's a pretty good player. I don't really know much about the players for Stevenage.
Okay.
So
So so there with Leighton, you have their top scorers are Charlie Kelman, who's
mhm.
their attacker. Ethan Galbraith, you just mentioned, he's midfield. He has
Yeah,
scored three now,
yeah,
and probably the two of the weekend. You said Daniel Aguiai is the other attacker with one, and then you have two defenders, Sean Clare and Tom James, have gotten the other goals for Leighton. Um, then on the Stevenage side, I actually did not write down their positioning. So I can check that now in 2 seconds. I'll need to pull it up. We have Harvey White first, Luther Wilden, Louis Frestone, Carl Piergiani, and Charlie Good are the top of the FOP mob for their team. And then their only scorers are Elliot List, who is not in their top five for best players, Carl Pergiani one, and Harvey White one. So if you want to have a look at that, I'm going to pull up those players and figure out where their positions are. Two
okay,
seconds, guys.
yeah. Yeah, that's in it. I mean, yeah, they've only scored 5 goals on the whole season, so that's not great. Um, and to be fair, Leighton hasn't scored a ton. I mean, especially when you consider they scored 4 in one game against um, uh, yeah, against in their last game against
Yes.
Stockport. So I mean, they scored 4 in that game, and they've only scored 9 on the season. So they only had 5 goals before that. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, they're there's they're I don't know. I just the stats tell me I feel good about these games. Like I feel like we should be winning these games. I really do.
Okay. So Stevenage goal scorers, Elliot List has three. He did not start in the last match. Carl Giannini is a defender, and Harvey White is in midfield. So let me just check Elliot List. Elliot. Where's Mr. List? He's he's gone. Did they sell him?
I don't know. That's a good question. I
I can't
can.
find him in their squad.
Let me look that up on transfer market real quick. That's a good question.
No, he's there. I found him. He's
Okay.
their
Okay.
forward. Okay, that makes sense now. So he's
Okay.
one of their forwards, Elliot List. He just didn't play in the last match. Okay, so that makes
Okay.
sense. So their attacker has scored three, one from midfield, one from defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So look, all the stats say we should win these, both of them.
yep. Yep.
Um, your heart says yes, they'll be easy wins and 6 points and be nicely up the top of the table. Hope for some slip ups by Birmingham, and we might even have gained the match in hand kind of back. However, all these matches are potential banana peels. We do have to be careful with them. We
Yeah.
have had our odd away form last
Mhm.
season. However, looking at the numbers we have already and averages and all of that, 4 points would be a reasonable number
Yeah, I
to
agree.
take from two away matches.
Yeah.
So a win and a draw would be okay
Yeah. I'd
from a
agree
simple
with that.
stats point.
Yeah.
But I would
Obviously.
obviously love to take the six.
Yeah.
We should be
We're-
able to take the six.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
We're
if we
capable.
want to be making a solid charge, we should be taking the six here. But you
Yeah.
can never guarantee 3 points against any team. So
If the Leyton Orient game is more of a wide open game, I like our chances in that because those
yes,
we seem to do well in games like that. If Stevenage kind of battens down the hatches and just goes into straight defensive mode, that worries me a little bit because I know, especially last season, we had games where we struggled to score against teams like that. So that'll be an interesting, how it'll be interesting to see how that game plays out and how they play against us. Because if they're going to be a park the bus type of team, we could struggle against that. Then again, I mean, we've added and we're playing better. So, you'd like to think we could break it down a team like that. So we'll see.
Yeah. My head says both are away. George. Still got flashbacks of last season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, last season was fun. So scares him. But the stats are going our way. The only thing that's not going our way is that they are away matches.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
I think we're going to come away with 6 points.
Yeah,
Here.
I think so.
Going to go on a big charge. Big charge.
I'd like to think so. So
And
you
then
want to look at the upcoming game?
Yes, let's do that.
All
Let's
right.
hit
So let me.
the upcoming games and just let people know who to watch out for and who to hope take the points.
Okay. So let's go here. And this will be the games for Saturday. So we've got. Try to get up here. So Crawley Town versus Bolton Wanderers, Reading and Huddersfield. That'll be interesting with obviously the stuff that's going on in the background at Reading, and and they're playing a Huddersfield Town who just lost a game that they probably felt like they should be winning. That'll be an interesting one. Birmingham and Peterborough. That'll be interesting. What does can Peterborough's speed do anything against Birmingham? Can anybody do anything against Birmingham? I think that's the big question of the season.
Okay, so we're looking for Crawley Town win, Reading win,
Yeah.
Peterborough win,
Yeah.
Blackpool versus Burton.
Blackpool,
Where are they sitting?
Well,
Blackpool's
I
in ninth.
think now we want Blackpool's been on a run. I think now we want them to slow down a little bit.
Yeah,
maybe
so
get a
Burton's in
win.
22nd.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're looking for a Burton away win at Blackpool.
Yeah, maybe Fleur can do us a favor there and beat Blackpool. Then we got Bristol Rovers and Wycombe Wanderers. This will be an
Bristol is
interesting
in 20th and Wycombe is in 11th.
Yep. So Bristol Rovers win is
Bristol Rovers win.
That's the one we want there. Lincoln City and Cambridge United. I think Cambridge.
That's a big
United,
match.
Yeah. We want Cambridge to win.
Yeah, that Lincoln should win that. It should be a fairly obvious win here. But we need Lincoln to slow down. They're a little bit too close to the top and they've been playing quite well. So that would be a really good result if Cambridge can pull a draw even.
Yeah, obviously our game against Leyton Orient, we want to win that. And then this is an interesting one, Northampton versus Mansfield Town. That's an interesting one. What do you think of that one, Shell?
Either a Northampton win or a draw is the answer to that one. Mansfield are higher than I expected, actually.
Me too.
They've still got some decent points.
Yeah, I didn't expect them
11 so far.
Yeah, I didn't expect them to hang on that high for this long. I really didn't.
They're equal on 6 matches with Stockport and the same points. So for all the talk so far about Stockport, Mansfield are on the same result.
That's crazy. Hey, I tried to tell you guys Stockport might not have been as good as what everybody was saying they were. Then again, they may just had a couple bad games and they may get right back into it. Shrewsbury Town and Rotherham. Who do we want to win that one? I think they're both in the relegation zone right now.
Shrewsbury Town is 23rd with 3 points. Rotherham is in 21st with 6. Definitely a Shrewsbury win for this
So
one.
Shrewsbury win just for the Steve Evans conniption fit he has on the sidelines. Is that what
Yeah.
we're looking for?
Yeah, you can already see a break in the table at the bottom. So in 22nd you have
Mm-hmm.
Burton with 4 points, Shrewsbury
Mm-hmm.
Town 3 points, and then Cambridge 1.
Mm-hmm.
Above them, then you have Rotherham, who at some point is going to do better and are going to
Yeah.
pull results because they can do it against
Yeah.
some of the best teams. So they will pull a string together and they'll fly
Mm-hmm.
up the league at some point. But then you have, so it jumps from 4 points to 6, and then you have 5 teams on 7, 3 teams on 8.
Yeah.
So already that grouping is slowly starting to pull away. Right now,
Yeah.
early predictions: Burton, Shrewsbury, and Cambridge are going to be in trouble. Very little
Yeah.
signs that they're going to do anything this season.
Yeah. I think I'd agree with that.
Okay,
Okay.
next one.
Stevenage and
And
Charlton Athletic.
Charlton, gotta be a Stevenage win, but it's going to be
Yeah.
then a Stevenage win before they play us. No,
Yeah.
sorry, we've no.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be right before
What
they
is
play
yeah,
us.
right before they
Yeah.
play us.
Yeah.
But they can have their
So
big win against Charlton, then lose to us.
yeah, I'm good with that.
So
Big
Charlton in
big game
fourth. We
against
need
Charlton,
drop
and then
points.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be good with that. Wigan Exeter. I've got a prediction for this match.
Go on.
0-0, because apparently that's all Wigan can do here lately. I think they've had 2 0-0s in a row. so
Okay.
I'm going to take the 0-0 in now.
So Exeter City is actually on higher points than Wigan. Exeter is in 12th with 9, and Wigan's 8 points in 14th. So only a point between them. Wigan has played an extra match as well, and are a point behind them. I wouldn't have picked that, just off the top of my head. Wigan is down much lower than I expected.
Well,
actually.
I think they had a tough start to the season. I think
Yeah.
they played a lot of the good teams early.
Yeah.
So I think that contributed to that. I think we'll see them continue to move up a little bit.
Yeah.
As
So
we
a
go.
draw probably on this one you want.
Yeah. 0-0, like I said.
Yep.
And then Barnsley and Stockport.
Interesting.
Yeah, definitely interesting. I think
11 points in 7th for Stockport, and Barnsley is 3rd with 13 points.
So a draw or a Stockport win?
A draw or a Stockport win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has to be.
Draw probably the best, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Overall, you would want the draw, but statistically, yeah, you want to pull Barnsley back. They're a little too high in 3rd place.
Yeah, they've been playing pretty well here lately too, which is, again, they were a team that I just wasn't sure about going into the season. I couldn't figure them out as to where they'd be in the league. So they've done well. And then so let's go over to that. Those are the Saturday games. So now let's go over to Tuesday, October 1st. Because we got those games coming also, and I think we've got a full slate. The whole league plays, looks like. So we'll start off at the top here. We got Barnsley and Wycombe Wanderers.
That's a Wycombe win we want. We'll fly through these ones because the other matches will change things.
Yeah. Ooh, here's a big one. Huddersfield, Birmingham.
Draw.
I don't know. I'd almost like to see a Huddersfield. Maybe if Huddersfield lose Saturday, then they turn around and beat Birmingham on Tuesday. I think I'd be okay with that.
Okay. Well, the question here is, as much as you might like to take a lump out of Birmingham, if you expect them to comfortably take first, you want them to take points off everybody around us.
That's true. That is true.
And including us if they do take them off us.
Yeah.
So we might be a little bit better off just saying off you go, Birmingham.
Yeah,
Take points off everyone.
yeah. I
But a
kind
draw.
of
A
I
draw.
agree. Yeah, I agree with that because that's kind of how I felt about Stockport at the end of the season last season. I was just kind of hoping they beat everybody around us,
Yeah, knock them back.
and then yeah, and we could just keep on rolling, and that's more or less kind of what happened. Um, Blackpool, Lincoln City. Um, both of them doing
Blackpool.
pretty well right now. Yeah,
They're
Blackpool
actually
win.
they're both doing ninth for Blackpool
Yeah,
with 11 and Lincoln 11. Yeah.
yeah. So
Um,
probably depends on what happens Saturday, and then
depends on
but
what happens
maybe
Saturday.
draw.
Yeah.
Maybe a draw is not a bad result.
Yes,
Um,
another draw. Yeah.
yep. Bristol and Charlton.
Bristol,
Yeah,
easy.
yep. I think Bristol win there. Cambridge, Rotherham.
Cambridge,
I think we take a Cambridge win there.
Cambridge, they're right down the bottom.
Crawley and Mansfield. I think we take a Crawley win.
Crawley win.
Yep.
Yeah, easy
Orient
answer.
and Exeter.
Okay,
Probably
Exeter in
probably an
12th,
Orient win.
and they're lower than Exeter. Leyton's is
Yeah.
currently on 7 and Exeter on 9. With a game in hand.
Yeah.
Exeter lost.
Yeah. Okay. Bolton and Northampton.
Northampton.
Yeah.
Easy answer.
Shrewsbury and Stockport. And take Shrews
Shrewsbury.
win. Stevenage, Wrexham. Obviously, we want the Wrexham win. Wigan and Peterborough.
Wigan win.
Yeah. Probably be 0-0.
Yeah, Wigan are on 8 points and Peterborough on 11. Both 7 played so far. You need to pull Peterborough back a little bit. So a Wigan win or a draw on that one.
Yeah. And then Reading and Burton.
Where's Reading sitting? Reading in
Burton
17th
win,
and then Burton down the bottom. Burton, but even Reading's not doing well.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So that's our that's that.
Okay, so there was a question here I was holding off on putting up,
okay,
which is an easy answer. What is the possible win streak till we hit a team that should beat us since the Birmingham game? That is the next 3 matches. So after Stevenage, we have Northampton Town, I believe, at home, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be a very winnable match. That's the next 9 points. After that, we hit Lincoln City, currently in 6th. So that's the dodgier match then.
Yeah, I think Lincoln City's probably the tough one coming up. So yeah, I'd agree with you there. I'd agree with you.
So it's Leyton away, Stevenage away, Northampton Town at home. Then we have a cup match, and then again we're at home with Lincoln on a Saturday. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually, just as a point, as soon as I have it here in front of me, then we are back into dodgy territory. Yeah. We got 3 matches in a row. We have home versus Lincoln. Okay, you would want to win that, but no guarantees. Then we have Rotherham away, and then we have Huddersfield at home.
Yeah.
So
those are all
some harder matches. Followed then by Charlton away, Mansfield at home, Stockport away.
Oof.
Before we then finally have Exeter at home in November the 23rd. So that is a serious run of games where you are likely to have wins and losses across it.
So we need to get all the points we can get here in the next few games.
This would be our opportunity to pull the next 9 points to give us a bit of breathing room then when we hit that group of fixtures.
Yep, I agree. What else we got? Got any other comments we want to hit?
Lincoln do those massive diagonal passes. Impressive when they pull them off. Shrewsbury play well but managed to lose. Exeter were my team of the round from last week. Tactically, they were sound with their high pressing. Late to the party, Vincente. Well, that's why you can replay, buddy. But nice for you to come in and send us a message before we finish. Rotherham has 2 games they can get right on coming up over the next 7 days. Okay. Lincoln City and Huddersfield worry, Nick. Yeah. I don't. Obviously, it depends on your definition, but I'm not worried about any teams, particularly. Really, they're just teams that can beat us, you know. But at the same time, I'm now comfortable we can beat them as well. Whereas I wouldn't have been at the start of the season. Going over the matches with the other teams now that we're doing every week and monitoring the teams a bit better. None of them scare me, you know. None of them worry me to that level. Right. But I know we're going to lose to some.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how I feel. Like, I definitely feel like I don't feel like there's anybody in this league except maybe Birmingham that we can't beat. You know what I mean? I think we can beat everybody. Now that's not saying we're going to beat everybody, but I think we can. So it's I'm totally with you there. Nobody scares me, but we know that we're going to drop games. You know, we know we're going to lose games. We're going to draw. It's just going to happen. And we're going to lose a game. We're going to lose games that we're going to be like, how the hell did that happen?
Yeah.
Like, we're going to play somebody that's not playing well and drop points to them. And it just is what it is, man. I mean, that's, it's part of it.
Yeah, and George, both are home. Yes, Lincoln and Huddersfield. That was correct. They were both home matches. And Nick said, "I just mean in the context of who am I thinking can beat us." Yeah, no, I understood that.
Yep, for sure.
But yeah, he agrees we have a good chance against all of them. But yeah, this early in the season, it would be great to take out the easier teams, the weaker teams at the bottom, comfortably especially, and then that gives a little bit of breathing room, and we can worry about a couple of slip-ups later.
Yeah, I totally agree. Get the points as many as we can, and go into that tough stretch of games and get as much as we can out of it, and see where we're at the end of it. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Got anything else, Shell?
Yeah, come join us in the Discord, people, because that's where we continue all these discussions. Lots of people over there. Keep talking after our shows, and before our shows, and during our shows, and at all times of the day and night.
24 hours a day, because we got people from Australia, Europe, United States, Canada, you name it. We've got people there. So there's always somebody in the Discord, it seems like. So have to turn off the notifications sometimes.
And if anyone is new here, or if anybody is new watching this at a later point during the week, it's not just football we speak about in the Discord. There are other sections. So generally a very friendly group just to chat about all sorts of nonsense. It's quite fun, actually. But also when you wake up in the morning, sometimes there's 50 nice little messages that you can fly back through, or more, depending on the topic of the night. But yeah, so I think that's pretty much it, guys. Go join the Discord, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and do all that, clicking the like buttons and leave some comments saying how wonderful we are. And how Josh can't live without us, and we're holding up the channel, and Josh should do better, all those lovely comments. Feel free to go ahead and put them in.
I guess we'll find out. We'll find out when we close out if he was still in here when we said. Jump in again.
Okay. On that bombshell, guys, we are out.